Friends, on the 13th of June 2025, Israel launched a barrage of missiles onto Iran. This was basically to devastate the nuclear facilities, kill the senior military leaders, and also to disseminate the nuclear scientists, and they say they were successful. And then Iran also retaliated, and then there were barrages of missiles going against each other. US said that they are not involved in it. But then Trump left the G7 meeting halfway because West Asia was in a turmoil. And on the 22nd of June 2025, though Trump said he's not involved or US is not involved, there was bombing on the nuclear sites of Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan. So these three places were bombed, and they say that the nuclear capabilities or the underground arsenals or the development sites have been damaged and destroyed, and it may take about 8 to 10 more years for Iran to come back to that state what it was. So this proxy war which has been going on between Israel and Iran has been long, and it goes back to 1979 when Iran said that they would obliterate Israel from the face of earth and kill the Jews. And since then, Israel has grown exponentially in the military aspect and has one of the best militaries and is fully laced with fighters. Their Mossad is effective, and also missiles, though it is supported by US and is child which was created by US after the World War II. So this whole thing, its analysis and how this complete bombing by the stealth bombers of US took place, and a little prologue to this present war, and also what can Iran do. Though today, on the 24th of June, Trump has announced that there has been an unconditional ceasefire between Israel and Iran, which will be an everlasting ceasefire, though Israel says that if Iran does not retaliate, we are ready to accept it. And also Iran has not yet stopped its bombings, but then we have to wait and watch. So see this video completely to understand the geopolitics of this complete war. And before that, I would like to remind you that our NGO, Uma Dream Foundation, with a tagline of right to education for the underprivileged child, needs you and your help. So feel free to approach me so that we can help the world to be a much more educated world together, and also help those poor artisans of Bengal whom we promulgate through our e-com site Shonajuri Arts. So this whole proxy war of Israel and Iran started somewhere in 2024 when it escalated to a series of direct confrontations between the two countries somewhere in April, July and October that year. On the 1st of April, Israel bombed an Iranian consulate complex in Damascus, killing multiple senior Iranian officials. In response, Iran and its axis of resistance allies seized the Israeli-linked ship MSC Ares and launched strikes inside Israel on 13th April. Israel then carried out retaliatory strikes in Iran and Syria on 19th of April. On 31st July, Israel killed Haniyeh, the Hamas chief, right in Iran in his living room. So that was also a turning point. And the killing of Haniyeh occurred a few hours after the 2024 Hareth airstrike in Lebanon that assassinated the Hezbollah commander Fouad Strouk. And on 1st October, Iran launched a series of missiles at Israel and then carried out more retaliatory strikes which were done by Israel on 26th of October. Several months later, in June 25, the Iran-Israel war began between Iran and the Houthis against Israel and the United States when Israel launched a surprise attack targeting Iranian military and nuclear facilities. And also, on 7th of October, when the Hamas, which is backed by Iran, carried out strikes across Israel with Iranian help and their missiles and immaculate planning, when many civilians were killed in Israel. That was the time when Israel went after Hamas in full-fledged, and that war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip is still going on, and Gaza was already an enclosed prison, has become a dead man's land, with it being nearly flattened to the ground and Hamas on the verge of getting disseminated. But then why was there enmity between Israel and Iran? That was because Iran wanted to wipe out the Jews and did not like the Israel which was created by the US and also maybe the other allies for a place for the Jews. And the Palestinians felt that they were being endangered, and Israel wanted to take over the Gaza Strip for their own personal reasons, which the Hamas military wing, which was a terrorist group, was opposing, backed by Iran. And finally, when Iran started making their own nuclear project or wanted to create nukes, they were put to a stop, and Israel felt if Iran has a nuclear bomb, their existence will be endangered. So that is how this enmity kept growing, and also because of Iran's roguish nature and their supreme leader, presently Khamenei, having a fanatic thought process, wanted to be the power center for the Islamic world. So wanted to be the second nation after Pakistan to have nukes, which US put a foot down, though they were part of the NTR. But then Iran said that we are doing or developing the nuclear facilities for benefit of mankind, which starkly is not correct exactly also. Though analysts said that in April the Israeli strikes were limited and signaled, but there was a desire to de-escalate. And the United States, United Kingdom, France and Jordan intercepted Iranian drones to defend Israel also. Syria shot down some Israeli interceptors and Iranian proxies in the region, and in bargain also attacked Israel. So, in the background, basically in 79, like I was telling, After the Iranian Revolution, the government of Iran took a more critical stance on Israel and a proxy war emerged. Like I said, Iran supported Lebanese Shia and the Palestinian militants during the 1982 Lebanon War. Iran began to gain power and influence with other Islamist countries and groups in the Middle East, collectively named the Axis of Resistance. The conflict evolved with Israeli attempts to stop the Iranian nuclear program and confrontations during the Syrian civil war. So, in this complete thing which was going on, and the IEA also found radiations going up above a certain level, told Iran to stop, and Israel was always wanting US to deal with Iran in such a way that Israel benefits out of it more than that US benefits. But then US, as usual, was looking for its own terms and conditions. So during this complete thing, after the proxy war started, and this war escalated more after the 7th of October Israel massacre, where on 25th of December, Razi Mousavi, an Iranian commander, was killed in a targeted Israeli strike at his residence in Sayyada Zainab. On 20th January, Iranian General Sadegh Umerzadeh and 4 other Iranian officials were killed during a meeting in Meza district of Damascus. And then finally, after the 13th June 25 attack on Iran and then exchange of missiles, the US stepped in on the 22nd of June, saying that either Iran surrenders unconditionally, which Khamenei was not ready. And then also there are factions in the Iranian nation which are against Khamenei and want to destabilize the regime. But US intervened even by saying that it is not involved, but then it made statements that they can target and kill Khamenei at will. And this strike on 22nd was basically a power show by US and a message to China and Russia that they can strike anywhere in the world without hesitation and at will. So this operation, which happened on Sunday between the time of 22:40 GMT and 23:05 GMT on Saturday, and on Sunday morning Tehran time, aircrafts took off from the US and made the 18-hour journey to Iran. Some jets were sent west into the Pacific as a decoy, while others went ahead, the main bombers, to ensure airspace was clear. 7 B-2 stealth bombers tasked with hitting the nuclear sites flew into Iran and avoided detection. At the same time, 24 cruise missiles were launched at Isfahan site from a submarine. In total, 75 precision-guided weapons were used during the operation. 14 GBU-57 MOPs, or the massive ordnance penetrators, were dropped on Fordo site, a nuclear enrichment facility buried deep below a mountain side near Tehran, which is vital to Iran's nuclear ambitions. Only the US operates the huge so-called bunker buster bombs, the sole weapons that could conceivably reach the concealed sites. Each bomb weighed 13,000 kgs and are able to penetrate about 60 feet of concrete and 200 feet of earth before exploding. So after this strike, Donald Trump, who had been publicly calling for a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program, made a televised address and said future attacks would be further great, and if Iran did not deal with it properly, he said there are many more targets which are left. So a little insight on how these bunker bursting bombs work and how do these stealth bombers come across the world, across the Pacific, and bomb these targets. The bomb is released basically from a B-2 stealth plane at about 12 kilometers above the target, and these have no engine, and being at such a high altitude, it comes down with a lot of kinetic energy and speed that it generates. After a certain distance of fall, satellite guiding allows it to steer using its adjustable tail fins, and the huge weight of the bomb results in large amount of kinetic energy which it generates, and on impact it drives the dense alloy casing through about 60 meters of cement and more amount of earth if it is there, and it goes till that height, and a delayed fuse detonates about 2,400 kgs of explosive, which is massive and can burst out anything which is there underground. So after this attack took place, there are so-called satellite images of some destroyed areas, dust emanating from certain places. So US claims the attack has been successful, but Iran did not say anything. So after this attack which has taken place, what are the pros and cons? Though a so-called ceasefire has been announced today on 24th of June, but still Iran, Israel, US hold the card to get peace in this region. So Iran's options fall under three basic categories: do nothing, and this would spare US further attacks, and Iran could choose to rejoin negotiations with US and bow down calmly, but that would make the Iranian regime look weak, and Khamenei would fall before his opponents. And they may think that this regime has got scared of the threatenings and warnings given by Trump. Also, it can retaliate hard and fast because Iran still has a substantial arsenal of ballistic missiles, and they have been hiding these. And within the Middle East, it has nearby targets which it can attack in Qatar, Saudi, Jordan, and other places. And also another big thing is that it can wait with patience to attack US or Israel at a time of its choosing, a place of its choosing. So now with the ceasefire having been announced and Donald Trump trying to be the harbinger of peace, we will have to wait, because the geopolitics of West Asia has totally been in a turmoil and is getting disturbed day by day. But the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, is burning with the US attack on its nuclear establishments, and they are not able to wait and have threatened, like I said, to attack the US bases in the Middle East, and supposedly they have attacked the US base at Qatar, and also they have deployed one of its most advanced missile system, the Khurram Sheher 4, which is the big missile which Iran has and can carry the heaviest payload and can also carry a nuclear payload, and has shot it off to Israel, where there has been devastation. And they have done it just before the ceasefire. Also, the latest that has come in is that Iran's top Shiite cleric has issued a fatwa, which is a religious decree against Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, calling them enemies of God, and has considered them as muharribs. And muharrib is someone who wages war against God, and as per Iranian law they face death. So that is what has been declared against both these people. So let us hope this sense prevails and this lingering on stops, and everybody brings peace, because Israel is also ready to call off operations on the Gaza Strip. So let us hope that peace prevails instead of more wars coming up, with US as one of the main countries which is behind everything. Because there we have the Ukraine-Russia war, here we had a recent skirmish between India, Pakistan, and also this ongoing disturbance in the West Asia. So let's hope sense prevails and we all live amicably and in a friendly manner. Jai Hind.